And that leads us perhaps to the most important part of the B-21's design philosophy. The B-21 Raider just took another step forward. A second stealth bomber has now flown, and for the first time, two B-21s are operating side by side. This report comes from the War Zone, which has closely been tracking the Raider program with exclusive updates, imagery, and analysis. So today, let's break down what happened, why it matters, and what it tells us about the future of the Air Force's next bomber. The second B-21 took off from Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, the Northrop Grumman hub for advanced and often classified aerospace programs. It was chased by an F-16, which is completely normal and part of the test program. New military aircraft are almost always flown with a chase aircraft that provides test platforms, both a safety, backup, to run checklists, an outside observer, as well as collecting additional data. And it just so happens we produced a lot of F-16, so it's a perfect platform to go out there and accomplish this mission. One thing sharp-eyed observers noticed is that this B-21 that took flight lacked the long air data probe and trailing cone that were clearly visible on the very first Raider flight back in 2023. That probe is a piece of test gear used to measure clean airflow and pressures away from the aircraft. The fact that it's gone here suggests that the jet is stepping into more advanced phases of testing. And if we look back, you can see the F-22 or the YF-22 that had this exact same air data probe or similar system back when it was testing. This makes two flying B-21s, now assigned to the 420th Flight Test Squadron at Edwards Air Force Base, which Edwards Air Force Base itself is steeped in history as the home of the Air Force Test Pilot School and the very site where nearly every major U.S. combat aircraft has been put through its paces. Northrop is building 6 pre-production B-21s. The first flew in November of 2023 and was later moved to Edwards Air Force Base. At least 2 are now airborne, with others in various stages of assembly at Plant 42. There's been speculation about these pre-production airframes. It appears they could be converted later to operational Raiders, but historically, early aircraft often stay in the test world. Given the cost of each bomber, it is possible that they could fly combat missions one day if needed, but most likely, they'll remain as dedicated test platforms to evaluate new weapons and technologies as those evolve. This is something that the Air Force will always need. Plant 42 itself also has a long pedigree. It began in the 1930s as a simple emergency airstrip, and by the 1950s, it was producing frontline jets, the first being the F-104A Starfighter, which rolled out in 1956. And then later, the prototype for the B-1A Lancer first flew from Plant 42 in 1974. Programs like the XB-70 Valkyrie and the B-2 Spirit were also tied to its runways. So it's no surprise that the Raider is taking shape in the exact same place. The new photos of the second B-21 give us a best look at the Raider yet. Its most exotic known feature to this point is its conformal inlets. These are carefully sculpted to hide engines from radar, and they've always been known to be a tricky part of the design. The inlet itself is one of the hardest aspects of a stealth aircraft. Even old mechanically scanned radars that you might find in a 4th generation fighter can catch reflections off exposed engine components, which can not only help them locate the aircraft, but even identify the type of aircraft. So these inlets, the ducts, have to hide the engines, keep airflow clean, and avoid becoming a radar hotspot themselves. The combination is quite difficult to get right. Another important detail to note, the images on the underside show what looks like to be a single large central weapons bay. In the past, bombers like the B-2, B-1, you would see a side-by-side or at least 2 weapons bay. A single large weapon bay means more flexibility for larger standoff weapons and mixed loadouts. And we just recently talked on the channel about the GBU-57 and its follow-on, the next generation penetrator. So now we know we're developing even more complex, newer weapons for future airframes. This doesn't come without headaches, as more pressure is put on weapons integration and the software that manages the entire system. And that leads us perhaps to the most important part of the B-21's design philosophy. Northrop and the Air Force keep emphasizing that this bomber is software defined with an open architecture. That means instead of waiting a decade or years for block upgrades, the B-21 should be rolling out with updates that can be pushed across the fleet rapidly. This is critical in legacy jets like the F-16, the F-35 even, the F-22, changing out mission systems or integrating new weapons can take years of contracts, engineering, and testing. We can feel this pain in the F-35 program with mistakes when it comes to the software and how that was managed. Jets were pushed into service, but they weren't quite ready. They were waiting for upgrades, and those upgrades hit delays like the TR-3, Technology Refresh 3, and Block 4, which we just talked about on this channel as well. To be a bit dramatic, those delays definitely meant we had a fleet of aircraft that existed, but we really couldn't use their full capabilities for years, and we're still facing that today. The B-21 appears to be taking those hard-learned lessons by heart and fielding software that is defined within the open architecture. The Air Force is trying to ensure it can adapt quickly to new threats, new weapons, without being trapped in the same cycle of endless delays. The goal is clear: at least 100 operational B-21s with the first operational units ready by the end of the decade. But history definitely makes us cautious. The B-2 Spirit was originally slated for over 100 airframes. Same if we look at the F-22, planned for over 780 airframes, and we only got 185. The B-2 was originally slated for over 100 airframes. In the end, we only got 21, and today just 19 remain in service due to a couple mishaps. The F-22 followed a similar path, with the original plan to being over 780 fighters, and we ended up with 185. So while 100 B-21s is the plan on paper today, history tells us that actual number may be significantly lower. 2 flying test aircraft today means more parallel sorties, faster discovery of issues, and earlier training for maintainers. It doesn't erase the risk. Production supply chain issues and cost challenges are still very real, but it does accelerate the path to operational capability. So here's where we stand. A second B-21 Raider has flown. 2 B-21 Raiders are now at Edwards Air Force Base, joining a total of 6 pre-production aircraft that are in the pipeline. We're seeing new design details emerge, from the conformal inlets to a single internal weapons bay, the removal of air data probes, and perhaps most importantly, this program is leaning hard on software upgrades to stay relevant over decades of service. The B-21 is transitioning from concept to capability, and we're witnessing it before our eyes. We're not just looking at renderings anymore. We're seeing a test fleet take shape on the path to give the United States a bomber that is stealthier, more flexible, and more upgradable than anything flying today. So that's where we stand today. If you like this type of content, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.